Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar and workshop series conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming CIMA Strategic Case Study examinations happening in February 2024. My name is Nick and I'm the lead tutor and evaluator for SCS at TCS. So some more people are joining in. Okay, so let's look at the session outcomes. So I'm trying to achieve these things in today's webinar. So first things first, I will be providing an overview into the SCS exam. There could be a set of students who are coming through the exemption route. So in such an environment, this might be your first CIMA case study. So you need to be conversant about the technicalities behind the exam because you need to know what type of answers you are supposed to develop and what you need to focus on when it comes to preparations or conducting preparations for your exam, which is happening in February. And in the second part of today's webinar, I will be providing you with a 7-week study plan. And if you stick to the study plan, you can easily pass the SCS exam, even if you're coming through an exemption route. If you stick to the study plan, you just need to spend something like 7 hours per week for the next 7 weeks, and you'd clear your exam in the first sitting itself. So before we get into the technicalities, let me remind you about the free webinars and workshops which we have scheduled for you. So there are something like 8 weeks until your examination. So out of that, on 7 occasions, I will get in touch with you via these webinars and workshops. So even if you do not invest on the study resources which we provide at TCS, that's totally fine. You can get in touch with us on a weekly basis, and we'll keep your preparations on track. And whenever you face any issues or difficulties, you can raise these concerns at these webinars and workshops, which will be extremely beneficial for you when conducting your preparations. So the second SES webinar is happening on Saturday, the 13th of Jan, which is next Saturday. I will be conducting a pre-scene analysis, and on top of that, I will also highlight what you need to do when it comes to bringing in information from the pre-scene, because I'll talk about what type of a role you are supposed to play when preparing for this examination. So in such an environment, given the fact that you are directly reporting to the board members of your chosen company, which is RoboBrides, you need to be extremely conversant about how to bring in pre-scene information, because if you bring in relevant pre-scene information, you'd get extremely good marks at your SCS examination. So all these tips will be provided in the second webinar. And on top of that, I will also be conducting an industry analysis, because you have to be conversant with the internal as well as external dynamics faced by RoboBrides, or in other words, you have to be conversant with what happens within the chosen industry. So all these things will be covered in the upcoming webinar, which is happening on next Saturday. Then out of the 4 webinars which we have scheduled, the most important one is the third one, answering technique, where I will be explaining to you an answering strategy, because there's, if you look at the majority of students out there, right after reading the question or right after reading the scenario, they'd start typing their fully fledged answer, which is not too prudent, because you need to spend some time to structure your answer properly or plan out your answer. So all these things will be covered in the third webinar. And on top of that, I will also highlight the time management technique, because if you run out of time, you'd have to repeat your SCS examination, because if you run out of time, you'd come up with incomplete answers or half-hearted answers. So in such an environment, you won't stand a chance of passing this SCS examination. So answering and time management techniques will be highlighted. And on top of that, I won't just highlight the technicalities behind these or the strategies behind these, answering and time management techniques. I'll go a step further, and based on the mini mock and its suggested answer, I will highlight how you are supposed to develop answer plans and what you need to do when it comes to managing your time appropriately. So do not miss it out. Please take part of this session live, because you'd definitely have questions, and it's prudent to ask these questions then and there. rather than trying to get through to us later. Then in the fourth webinar, exam prep, I will be providing you with hints pertinent to what you need to do to develop a higher level of confidence, because as per the CIMA examiner, confident students end up easily acing their SCS examination. So all these things, all these tips will be provided in the fourth webinar. And on top of that, I will also highlight examiner's comments. I will take you through the comments made by the examiner, thereby ensuring that you understand what's requested from you, what you really understand what you are supposed to do when developing answers, and what you need to avoid, the type of pitfalls you need to avoid when conducting your preparation. So all these things will be covered in depth in the fourth webinar. And after the 4 webinars are done, we are starting our Q&A workshops. So within these workshops, I will be taking you through questions and answers covering E3, P3, and F3 syllabi, so that you gain an understanding about how to tackle these syllabus areas. So on top of that, whilst explaining, whilst taking you through, answers pertinent to different syllabus areas, I will also open up the workshop for a Q&A session. So, these Q&As are starting 3 weeks before your exam. So by that time, if you stick to our study plan, you should be done with at least 2 or 3 mocks. So when attempting mocks, you'd encounter issues. And after going through our master classes or answer plans, you'd have questions. So if you have any questions or issues, you can raise these concerns at these workshops, and you'd find it to be extremely beneficial, especially given the fact we are starting our workshops 3 weeks before the exam, as I highlighted earlier. And in the final Q&A workshop, which is happening 2 or 3 days before your real exam, I will give you last minute tips which will help you to maintain a positive attitude right before the exam, because I will take you through the study plan in a while, and then you'd realize that you are supposed to relax a week before the exam when all the other students are experiencing extreme levels of stress. You'd be relaxing, and it's gonna be extremely beneficial for you, because if you have a positive attitude, as I told you earlier, if you are open-minded enough, you'd do a perfect job, thus ensuring a first-time pass at the SCS exam. So there's a lot to cover in the upcoming 7 weeks, and we've got your back. Please make use of these free resources which we are providing, free services which we are providing. And on top of that, PL, you are drawing something on the screen. Give me a second, please. I'll get rid of these things. All right. Okay. So that's done. So make use of these free resources which we are providing. And if you do, you'd ace your SCS exam comfortably. Okay. So let's look at what you are expected to do at the SCS exam. So first things first, talking about how you land at the SCS exam. There are a set of students who are coming through the CIMA general route. So if that is the case, you would have done your OTQ examinations, E3, P3, and F3 OTQs. So because of that, you'd have an in-depth understanding about theoretical elements. And on top of that, you would have done your OCS and MCS examinations. So in such background, you can easily pass the SCS exam, because if you have done OCS and MCS, you know what this examination is about and what type of preparations you have to be involved with and what type of answers you need to develop. You'd be conversant with answering and time management techniques. And on top of that, as I mentioned earlier, since you are conversant with the syllabus content, you can easily pass the SCS exam. On the other hand, there are a set of students coming through the CIMA the exemption routes, such as the CGMA route or the FLP or Finance Leadership Program. So if you're coming through these exemption routes, you might be attempting the first CIMA case study. So you need to get your bearings pertaining to the technicalities. And on top of that, what I've experienced throughout my tutoring career is that most students coming through the exemption routes lack an in-depth understanding about theoretical elements. So if you do not know theory, you cannot pass this exam, because when developing answers, you need to read through the scenario. Give me a second, please, guys. PL, you keep annotating stuff on the screen. I hope you can avoid doing it. Give me a second, please, guys. I'll get rid of these things. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So, what was I talking about? Yeah, so those who come through the exemption route, they lack an in-depth understanding about theoretical elements. So when developing answers, you need to read through the scenario to figure out what the company is facing at the moment. And based on, considering this information, you are supposed to carry out your evaluations, or in most occasions, you have to provide your recommendations. So when carrying out evaluations or when providing recommendations, you need to utilize the theoretical knowledge which you have gained by going through the E3, F3, and P3 syllabi. So that's exactly why I said, if you're coming through the exemption route, most students lack an in-depth understanding, especially pertinent to F3 and P3 syllabi. If that is the case, your chances of you passing the SCS exam is extremely low. However, you need not be worried too much, because we at TCS, we have developed a set of study material exclusively focused on the individuals who are coming through the exemption route. So even if you are coming through an exemption route, you need not worry. You have enough and more time. If you stick to our study plan, and if you utilize our resources as we expect you to, then you can easily ace your SCS exam. We have tutored so many individuals coming through exemption routes. When I said that, due to a lack of theoretical knowledge, usually students end up failing. It affects confidence in a negative manner. However, they trusted on us and they ended up passing the SCS exam in the first sitting itself. So even if you're coming through an exemption route, you need not worry. We've got your back. Okay, so looking at the exam, it's a PC-based examination. You can do it at an examination center, or you can do it at home as well, since 2019. And the time allocation in its totality is 3 hours. So your exam is divided into 3 main tasks. So each task carries a time allocation of 60 minutes. Although there's a lot of time at your disposal, you need to be conversant about how to manage your time, because when faced with exam stress, and exam pressure, you might, mismanage your time. So that's exactly why you need to attend the third webinar, where I will be highlighting and answering and time management technique. And every time you, attempt a mock exam, you need to keep practicing these, answering and time management techniques in order to ensure that you manage your time appropriately. So on a task by task basis, the time allocation is 60 minutes. And the pass mark which you need to achieve is 80 out of 150, or 54%. So you need not get full marks. If you just score 54%, or in other terms, if you score 80 out of 150, you can easily pass the SCS exam. And let's try to figure out what type of a role you are supposed to play at your examination. So mind you, the CIMA examiner tries to create a real life corporate environment in order to test your understanding about theoretical elements, not just theoretical elements, but the examiner is giving a higher weightage towards testing your application skills. So you are supposed to play the role of a senior finance manager at Robo-Bryce. So as a senior finance manager, you are expected to report to your superiors who are at the board level. So you'd be reporting directly to the CFO of the company, as well as there could be instances where other directors from other functions of the company will seek your opinion about certain strategic matters, or else they'd seek your recommendations. So you are involved with strategic decision making. So since you are reporting directly to the board members, you should know by now that the individuals at the strategic level, or in other terms, the board members, are involved with long-term decision making. So you have to assist these guys, or else on behalf of them, as per their guidelines, you need to provide your own recommendations. Okay, so that's what your role is. On top of that, whilst taking part in long-term decision making, you have to direct your subordinates as well. So you have to provide some type of leadership when directing your subordinates. So your leadership skills, your knowledge pertaining to leadership skills will also be tested at your examination. So when it comes to application and practical thinking, a higher level of application and practical thinking is expected for SCS. So as I told you earlier, when coming up with your evaluations or when providing recommendations, the examiner is testing whether you have gained an in-depth understanding about E3, P3, and F3 syllabi. So theories are tested. And on top of that, just because you know theory, you cannot pass the SCS exam, because you have to be involved with practical decision making. So you need to focus on your application skills thoroughly, because if you just know the theory, but if you lack the capability to apply your theoretical knowledge, when developing your answers, and if you do not know how to link up theory and the information, considering when developing answers, you have to consider the information provided in the scenario, and for each main point highlighted within the scenario, you have to carry out evaluations or come up with recommendations. So when carrying out your evaluations or recommendations, you have to utilize your theoretical knowledge. So that's what your application skills are about. So practical decision making is heavily tested. Why? Because you are involved with long-term decision making. So mostly you would be expected to provide recommendations, since you are involved with long-term decision making within your chosen company. All right, then moving on. At the exam, information is provided about a fictitious company via something called a pre-scene document. So you would have gone through the pre-scene document, which is applicable for February examinations. So you need to have, if you had gone through the pre-scene document, you would have understood that the pre-scene gives you information about a fictitious company, which is RoboBrice. And the examiner provides information pertaining to the internal dynamics of the company. The examiner gives you an indication about what has happened within the company in the past, what the company is involved with, in the past. And on top of that, the examiner provides you information about the external dynamics of the company, or gives information about the industry dynamics. So as a senior finance manager, you need to adopt something called an outside-in approach when providing your evaluations or when coming up with your recommendations. So what is an outside-in approach? Since you are involved with long-term decision making, you have to always think about how other stakeholders are going to get affected based on your recommendations. So when providing recommendations, you should not only think about the internal stakeholders of the company, you have to also think about the connected as well as external stakeholders. So you need to think about, how my recommendation is going to affect shareholders, how my recommendation is going to affect, competitors out there, how my recommendations are going to affect, regulatory bodies, how my decision is going to affect our customers and whatnot. So you have to always mainly think about your internal stakeholders, your connector stakeholders, as well as external stakeholders. Okay, so via the pre-scene document, the examiner gives you information about the industry, and on top of that, at the very end of the pre-scene, the examiner also gives you information pertaining to the financial performance of the company. So you would have seen certain financial statements. So as a senior finance manager, if you don't know what the company is facing at the moment with regards to its finances, you cannot pass this exam. So as I mentioned earlier, you are playing the role of a senior finance manager. So whenever you are coming up with recommendations, you need to think about the internal dynamics of the company, how it's going to affect different types of stakeholders, as well as when providing recommendations, it need to make financial sense, or else you're not going to get any marks at the SCS exam. So information about a company is presented via something called a pre-scene document. And in the exam, you are required to address issues or questions relating to the strategic direction of the company. So the examiner will, via the scenarios, give you information about certain issues faced by the company. They could be issues, or in other words, threats faced by the company, or else the board members might be trying to exploit a certain opportunity or opportunities faced by RoboPrice. So you need to provide, as I mentioned earlier, you need to provide your evaluations when trying to exploit these opportunities or when trying to manage these threats. And on top of that, you'd have to provide your recommendations. So when providing your evaluations or recommendations, you need to show to the examiner that you know about the internal dynamics of the company, as well as about what happens within the industry. So the examiner is testing whether you have an in-depth understanding about the company as well as the industry in which we operate. And when providing your evaluations and recommendations, you need to show to the examiner that you are extremely conversant with E3, P3, and F3 syllabi. So especially if you're coming through an exemption route, you would have done your master's degree or an academic qualification. So in an academic qualification, mostly it's all about doing your presentations as well as doing up assignments. So when preparing for your presentations or assignments when following an academic qualification, you have some time to conduct your own research. Even if you do not attend lectures, you can still complete your assignments on time, because you have some time at your disposal. You can read books, refer to journals, then Google, or utilize ChatGPT for your benefit and whatnot. So you have some time to conduct your own research. But when following a professional qualification, things are a bit different, because you need to sit in one place. You don't have any time to research. You have to read through the scenario, and after reading the scenario, you have to carry out your evaluations or provide your recommendations. So the examiner is testing your knowledge based, thereby trying to replicate a real life corporate environment. So it's as if you go to office, you are playing the role of a SFM, you are reporting to the board members, you open up an email, and within the email, the board members will highlight about a certain issue faced by the company, or some type of an opportunity the company tries to exploit. And based on your knowledge about E3, P3, and F3, you need to come up with your evaluations and recommendations. And these recommendations and evaluations need to fit in with the internal dynamics of the company, the external dynamics of the company, and these recommendations and evaluations need to make financial sense. So that's the overview of the exam in a nutshell. Now you know what you're expected to do. Then I want to highlight the to-do list, or the type of exercises or activities which you need to complete when preparing for your SCS exam, which is happening in February. So first things first, you have to read something called the annotated pre-scene. So at the exam, at your real exam, you would be provided with a pre-scene document. You would have already, as I mentioned earlier, you would have already gone through the pre-scene document. But we at TCS, we have developed something called the annotated pre-scene. So let me show you what this is about. So it's the same pre-scene document which you would have received, but I've come up with annotations with the intention of taking out the most important points, thereby creating a good summary. So if you go through these annotations, you can easily understand about the internal and external dynamics of the company. And on top of that, as part of these annotations, I've also mentioned probable exam scenarios can be tested. And on top of that, I've highlighted any syllabus content which can be tested at your real exam, because the examiner usually provides hints about what type of scenarios will be thrown at you at the real exam. So as part of these annotations, we have highlighted these scenarios which can be tested. And on top of that, if there's any hint about a syllabus content or a syllabus area which is tested, we've covered these things within the annotated pre-scene as well. So if you go through this pre-scene, annotated pre-scene, you need not conduct your own evaluations. Instead, we have done it for you. This is a good summary so that you can ensuring that you easily understand what's highlighted within the pre-scene document. And after going through the annotated pre-scene, you have to watch the 4 pre-scene analysis videos which we have developed. So where these pre-scene analysis videos, actually speaking, this time the pre-seed is a bit short. So because of that, you'd find only if you invest on our paid content, you'd only have you'd only find 3 pre-seed analysis videos. So in each video, as per the demarcations made within the pre-seed document, we have developed videos covering each element of the pre-seed document. So in the first video, we have conducted an analysis, thereby explaining about the internal dynamics faced by the company. In the second video, we have conducted an industry analysis. And in the third and final video, we have conducted a financial analysis, so that you gain an in-depth understanding about all the information which is presented within the pre-seed document. And after doing that, you'd have an appropriate level of knowledge about what happens within the company, what type of an industry it operates in, as well as about the financial performance of the company. After gaining an understanding about these elements, you have to start practicing 5 exam standard mock exams. So why 5 mock exams? Because when conducting your preparations, it's prudent to be conversant with all syllabus areas. You are not supposed to, keep out or leave out any syllabus content when conducting your preparations. You should not test your luck. Instead, it's better to practice questions covering all syllabus areas, F3, E3, and P3 syllabi. So if you are to cover the entire syllabus, you have to attempt 5 mock exams. You cannot cover the entire syllabus by within just 3 or 4 mocks. It takes 5 mock exams. So that's exactly why we are recommending that you practice 5 exam standard mock exams under exam conditions. I'll explain these things later in depth. And on top of that, you are expected to attend the live webinars and workshops which we are conducting, 7 in total. So each week we'll keep in touch with you. We'll share some insight into what you're expected to do. And on top of that, we'll be conducting 3 workshops as well. So you have to attend these live webinars and workshops on a weekly basis in order to keep moving forward with your preparations. Then you have to refer to a set of slides, the industry analysis as well as financial analysis slides. So the industry analysis slides, let me show you a sample of what we have prepared for previous case study. So if you go through our set of industry analysis slides, it comprises, or it's divided into 4 main elements. First things first, we are providing an overview of the chosen industry. Then we are talking about the competitive landscape, because as I told you earlier, you need to think about the competitors, what they are up to. And on top of that, think about how your decisions are going to affect the competitive landscape of the chosen industry as well as the company. So all these things are covered under the industry analysis slides. Then we are also highlighting industry trends which affect real life companies which operate within the chosen industry, because based on these trends, scenarios will be developed at your real exam. So if you understand what type of trends the industry in a real sense is facing at the moment, then you can easily predict the type of scenarios which will be thrown at you at the real exam. And at the very end, real world examples based on real world companies are provided, so that you'd have a better understanding about the industry dynamics. So you need not conduct your own research about the industry. Instead, by simply referring to the set of slides which we have developed, you'd gain an in-depth understanding about the industry, which will be extremely beneficial for you at the real exam. And let me quickly take you through the financial analysis slides as well. So as I mentioned earlier, the examiner indicates or gives you information about the financial statements considering which are relevant for your company as well as its closest competitor. So as I mentioned earlier, since you're playing the role of an SFM, you need to be conversant about numbers or the financial situation of the company. So that's exactly why we have developed these set of slides with the intention of ensuring you easily understand about the financial situation of the company. So we have conducted horizontal analysis based on the statement of profit and loss. And for each line item, we have come up with evaluations which are concise yet easily understandable. The same could be said about the statement of financial position as well. So we have demarcated about the most important elements which you need to be aware of. And we have also evaluated the statement of changes in equity. Then We have moved on to conducting a ratio analysis, thereby looking at various different ratios, and each ratio is evaluated so that you can easily understand where the company stands in a financial sense. So a similar type of approach had been adhered to when evaluating the financial statements of your closest competitor as well, because as I mentioned earlier, you have to be conversant about what happens within the industry, what's up with competitors, your closest competitor. So with that in mind, a similar evaluation had been conducted. All right, so you need to go through these set of slides to gain an understanding about the industry as well as its financial performance. Then you have to refer to the top 20 issue slides, which highlights the type of scenarios which will be thrown at you at the real exam. Then you need to brush up your knowledge pertaining to theoretical elements. So you can do it by going through the theory recaps which we have developed. After doing all these things, you are supposed to watch the 15 pre-recorded masterclasses. So we have, as I mentioned earlier, we have developed 5 mock exams, and in each mock exam there are 3 tasks. So 3 tasks into 5 mock exams comes up to 15 tasks in total. So focused on each and every task, we have developed masterclasses. And why are these masterclasses? What we are intending to achieve is to ensure that you understand the logic of each and every answer provided for each and every task. So whilst explaining the logic of each answer, we are teaching you theory as well as application skills. So as I mentioned earlier, if you're coming through an exemption route, you might be clueless about P3 and F3 syllabi, but you need not worry. You need not go through pages and pages of your past notes, or you need not refer to huge study texts. Instead, you can easily learn theory, at the same time improve application skills by watching these master classes. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we have developed the 5 mock exams to cover the entire syllabus, and each masterclass is based on each and every task which is covered within the 5 mock exams. And if you watch these masterclasses, you'd learn theory, thereby indirectly covering the entire syllabus. Not just learn theory, you'd also improve your application skills, because as a SFM, your practical application skills are heavily tested. So if you watch these master classes, you'd improve your theoretical knowledge, significantly improve your application skills, at the same time understand the logic behind each answer we have provided. So these are covered under the master classes, and then you are supposed to refer to the answer plans of mocks 1 to 5. No, service provider is providing this service where where they provide study summaries focused on the suggested answers of each mock. So rather than you having to go through pages and pages of suggested answers, and rather than you having to develop study structures or mind maps based on the suggested answers, we have done it for you. So let me quickly show you what I'm talking about. So this is an answer plan. This is what an answer plan looks like. So rather than going through paragraphs and paragraphs of information, by looking at this answer plan, you can easily understand the structure of the answer. You can easily understand how syllabus content, theoretical content had been brought in to the answer, and you can also understand how pre-seen information had brought in as well. So this actually makes your life easy when understanding the logic behind each and every answer, understanding the structure, learning theory, as well as improving application skills. Okay, so you need to do these things. You have to go through these answer plans, which are relevant for mocks 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And on top of that, you are supposed to refer to personalized tutor feedback as well, which is provided from mock 3 onwards. So let me quickly show you the type of feedback we provide at TCS. So as you can see, on a paragraph by paragraph basis, in-depth feedback is provided with the intention of highlighting your shortcomings, with the intention of ensuring that you really understand what's expected from you. And whenever you are attempting your next mock, you'd know what type of issues you need to avoid, and what type of methodologies you need to adhere to when coming up with high quality answers. So that's exactly what you can see throughout this answer script. So, and we provide general comments as well if there are major issues with the answer. So throughout the answer script, you can see the type of feedback which we have provided. And at the very end, we provide marks on a subtask by subtask basis. And not just marks, we are providing you with information pertinent to a success rate as well. So by looking at this success rate, you can easily understand the subtasks in which your performance was not up to standard. So when conducting your revisions, when trying to improve your answering technique, rather than re-attempting the entire mock, rather than allocating 3 hours of your time and re-attempting the entire mock, you are simply supposed to develop something called an answer plan focused on the subtasks in which your success rate was low. So if you look at this student's performance, the performance is not up to standard when it comes to subtask 1B, subtask 2A, and subtask 2B. So when conducting revisions or when trying to improve answering techniques, this student just needs to focus on these 3 subtasks and redevelop answer plans. That's the best way to conduct your revisions. That's the best way to improve the quality of your answers within a short period of time. And at the very end, the total marks are provided. And we also provide general comments, thereby highlighting the main shortcomings within your answer, so that you stand a chance to really understand what's expected from you. And from the next mock onwards, you are supposed to avoid these pitfalls. Okay, so that's the type of feedback which we provide at TCS. So you are supposed to refer to it as well. So there's a lot to do. However, once I take you through the study plan, you'd realize that you can get all these things done just by allocating 7 hours per week. So do not wait until the last moment. You have to start preparations now itself, because there's 8 weeks until your exam. That's, gives you enough and more time for preparations. I know for a fact that you are not into full-time studies. Instead, you have to, balance your corporate responsibilities. You might be running your own business. If that is the case, you have to dedicate a lot of time for your business. And on top of that, you have your family commitments as well. So considering all these things, we have developed a study system where your work is actually to attempt a mock per week. Everything else is handled by us. Okay. So you'd gain an understanding about it once I take you through the 7-week study plan. And let me remind you about the important dates which you need to be aware of. So exam entry closes on Tuesday, the 6th of February, 2024. So if you are planning to attempt your SCS exam in Feb, you have to book your exam before the 6th of February. Don't wait until the last moment. Try to book your exam now itself. And the exam dates are from the 21st to the 23rd of February, 2024. Okay, so before we move on to the 7-week study plan, let me quickly remind you about what we offer at TCS. So, once you land on our website, click on this button, create your own user account to make use of the free content which we provide. So you'd have access to the recorded versions of each webinar which we are conducting under the free content. And on top of that, you'd also have access to a mini mock, its suggested answer, and its answer plan. Okay, so utilize this free content for your benefit. And if you are interested in investing on our services as well as products, then before doing that, I invite you guys to check out the sample material which we have uploaded, so that you gain an understanding about what type of resources you are getting if you invest on our study packages. All right, so then and if you're not part of the SCS WhatsApp group, simply click on this button and join the SCS WhatsApp group, because if you face any concerns, you can raise these concerns via the WhatsApp group. I'm always there to help you guys out, and I will be sharing information pertinent to the weekly webinars and workshops which we are conducting. And on top of that, I will share additional study resources via the WhatsApp group. So if you're not part of it, click on this button and join it. So let me quickly tell you about what we offer at TCS. We offer 2 packages, the value pack and the premium package. So the value pack is designed for students coming through the CIMA general route. So since you have completed your OTQs, you would have an in-depth understanding about the theoretical elements. So focused on your knowledge level or your level of knowledge, we have developed the value pack. So the value pack comes with the recordings of all webinars which we are conducting. You'd also have access to 5 mock exams with suggested answers, which covers the entire syllabus. Then you'd have access to the pre-scene analysis videos as well as the annotated pre-scene. You saw what the annotated pre-scene looks like a while back. You'd also have access to the industry and financial analysis cards, which will be extremely beneficial for you when understanding the industry dynamics as well as the financial performance of the company within a short period of time. Then we are also providing you with a set of slides which highlights the top 10, not 10, actually top 20 likely issues, so which highlights the type of scenarios which can be, which you'd experience or which can be thrown at you at the real exam. This also comes with a case study familiarization kit. So by going through this document within 10 to 15 minutes, you can easily understand the technicalities behind the SCS examination. You'd also have access to a tutor managed live chat so that you can raise your concerns whenever it is necessary. And you'd also have access to OTQ revision cards. So I told you, you need to, even if you had done your OTQs, it's better to brush up your knowledge pertaining to theoretical elements closer to the exam. So simply by watching not watching, rather by going through the OTQ revision cards, you can brush up your knowledge in these areas. So the value pack is priced at £249. And talking about the premium package, this is designed for students who are coming through the exemption route. So it could be the CGMA route, the gateway route, or the FLP route. Or if you failed your SCS exam previously, then you should opt for the premium package. Why would you fail? Due to a lack of theoretical knowledge or due to a shortcoming in with regards to application skills. So you need to improve on these areas if you want to pass your SCS exam. So if you had failed previously, you have to go for the premium package. So the premium package comes with everything which is covered under the value pack. Additionally, you'd also have access to an online mock exam platform. So at the real exam, you'd utilize something called the Pearson VUE system when doing your exam. So we have developed a similar platform which is akin to the Pearson VUE system, with the intention of ensuring that you have enough exposure to exam stress. And when attempting each mock exam, you do it under real exam conditions. And on top of that, to ensure that you have the opportunity to practice answering and time management techniques in an exam setting. Okay, so when attempting the 5 mock exams which we have developed, you can do it via the exam platform at the same time practicing answering and time management techniques, because if you do not practice answering and time management techniques, you cannot get it right at the real exam. And on top of that, when sitting in one place and having a go at the exam for 3 hours at a stretch, it's not easy, because you need to keep on sticking to the answering and time management techniques 3 hours at a stretch. So you'd experience a lot of stress during when trying to do it. So you need to have the capability to manage this stress level, or else stress leads to panic, and when you panic, it leads to brain freeze, and you cannot complete everything within the stipulated time period. So utilize these services for your benefit. Then you'd also receive one-on-one tutor feedback from mock 3 onwards. So for mocks 3, 4, and 5, we are providing one-on-one tutor feedback. So mocks 1 and 2 are there for you to get your bearings with the answering and time management techniques. And once you have practiced the first 2 mocks, from mock 3 onwards, things should get serious. And from mock 3 onwards, we are providing you with tutor feedback. And you'd also gain access to the answer plans of all mocks. I showed you what an answer plan looks like. And you'd gain access to the 15 master classes where you'd understand the logic behind each answer whilst learning theory and significantly improving your application skills. And this package comes with a pass guarantee. So in order to claim the pass guarantee, you have to fulfill these 3 requirements. You have to complete all 5 mocks, because without completing all 5 mocks, you do not stand a chance to pass the SCS exam. So you have to be conversant about all syllabus elements. You cannot leave anything out, because if you do that, you're trying to test your luck, which should be avoided. So if you are to pass, you have to cover the entire syllabus. If you are to cover the entire syllabus, you have to attempt 5 mock exams, and your solutions need to be original as well. There's absolutely no point of going through the suggested answers before attempting each mock, because if you do, you'd be cheating yourself. So rather than cheating yourself, it's better to give your best shot and see where you stand as a student, because then you are in a position to really improve yourself. If you cheat, there's absolutely no point of utilizing our resources. And you have to also meet the performance criteria, which is to gain 40% or higher for mocks 3, 4, and 5. Why have we come up with this type of criteria? With the intention of ensuring that you are serious about that you are serious when attempting mocks 3, 4, and 5. So when attempting each mock, you have to keep practicing answering and time management techniques. If you're not serious, if you do a haphazard work, haphazard job, even if you receive tutor feedback, you will not improve yourself. Okay, so with the intention of ensuring that you are serious about what you are doing, because take it from me, I'm involved with preparing all your mock exams, as well as providing you with tutor feedback. I take something like 1.5 to 2 hours to mark one paper. So I try to really read through and understand what you had written, understand your shortcomings, and highlight them with the intention of ensuring that you really improve yourself. But if you're not being serious, then you won't gain 40%, you'd gain lesser marks than that. So if you're not serious when attempting mocks 3, 4, and 5, you can't claim your pass guarantee. So if you complete all these 3 things and still end up failing, which is highly unlikely, you can claim the pass guarantee, which gives you access to the same material, the premium package, for an additional sitting in your subsequent sitting, free of charge. So the package comes at a price of 749 pounds. That's if you pay in full, you can save 100 pounds, or else if you opt for the installment option, the package, the price of the package is 849 pounds. You can pay it in 2 monthly installments of 424 pounds each. Okay, and so that's what we offer at TCS. So make use of these services which we are offering. So if you are coming through the CIMA general route, simply go for the value pack. If you're coming through the exemption route, or if you had failed your SCS exam previously, you have to opt for the premium package, which comes with a pass guarantee. Okay, so having said that, I'm going to move on to the 7-week study plan. So before we do that, I'm ready to take your questions. I'm going to pause the recording. All right, seems like there aren't any questions. So we are moving to the 7-week study plan. Okay, so you can access the study plan within the website itself. All right, so I'm gonna explain what you are supposed to do on a weekly basis. And if you stick to the study plan, you just need to allocate something like 7 to 8 hours of study time per week, and you'd be actually relaxing a week before the exam. Okay, so we are in the pre-course week. So you have already completed the first requirement, which is to attend the first webinar. Then within this week, it's prudent for you to refer to the OTQ revision cards so that you brush up your knowledge in these areas. And, if you're coming through an exemption route, when going through the OTQ revision cards, you'd understand that there are gaps in knowledge. So that's totally fine. All these gaps will be addressed when conducting the master classes. And within this week, you are supposed to refer to the SCS familiarization kit so that you get an understanding about the technicalities behind your SCS exam. And in week number 1, from next week onwards, you have to focus on the pre-scene document. So you are supposed to attend the second webinar, pre-scene analysis, in which I'd highlight what you need to do when going through the annotated pre-scene and when utilizing the recorded, pre-recorded pre-scene analysis videos. So after attending the second webinar, you are supposed to watch the pre-scene analysis videos, thereby gaining an in-depth understanding about the company, its industry, as well as its financial performance. then you are supposed to refer to the annotated pre-scene on your own and refer to the financial analysis, industry analysis, and top 20 issue slides. So the first week is dedicated towards decrypting the pre-scene and gaining an understanding about the company, its internal dynamics, its external dynamics, as well as its financial performance. So once you know what your company is up to, once you know what type of industry it operates in, and once you know about the financial situation of the company, you have to start attempting mock exams. So from week 2 onwards, you have to start attempting mocks. So week 2 is dedicated towards mock number 1. So you are supposed to attempt mock number 1 via the exam platform. So you have to find 3 hours, sit in one place at a stretch, devoid of any disturbances, and attempt mock number 1 via the exam platform. After attempting mock number 1, you are supposed to watch the 4 master classes pertaining to mock number 1, where you'd understand the logic behind each answer on a task-by-task basis. And on top of that, you'd also understand you'd also learn theory as well as improve your application skills. And after watching the master classes, you are supposed to refer to the answer plans which are applicable for mock number 1. So in week number 1, let's assume you attempt mock number 1 on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, you are expected to watch the master classes. And after doing it, you'd understand what your shortcomings are. You'd understand how you need to develop or focus on improving your answers. And after doing that, when you refer to the answer plans, you further realize what your shortcomings are and focused on the areas where you feel your performance is not up to par. You are supposed to redevelop answer plans on your own. Then moving on to week number 3, you are supposed to attend the 3rd webinar. This is when you'd learn answering and time management techniques. So you might be thinking as to why I want you to attempt mock number 1 before we teach you answering and time management techniques. I've done this intentionally with the idea of ensuring that you attempt mock number 1 fresh without knowing an appropriate answering technique, without without having an understanding about how to manage your time. Give your best shot and see where you end up at, because once you do it, you'd really understand your shortcomings. So when attempting mock number 1, you are attempting it fresh, you are trying to give your best shot, but after attending the 3rd webinar, you'd really understand what your shortcomings are, what you need to focus on when it comes to improving the quality of your answers. And within the same week, you are supposed to attempt mock number 2, watch the master classes to learn theory as well as improve application skills, and refer to the answer plans pertinent to mock number 2. And from week 4 onwards, things get serious. You are supposed to attend the 4th webinar. I'll be taking you through examiner's comments, as I mentioned earlier, as well as highlighting what you need to do to create a positive attitude or a positive mindset. And after doing that, you are supposed to attempt mock number 3. I've done a blunder here. I'll get IT to fix it. So within week number 4, after attending the 4th webinar, you are supposed to attempt mock number 3. After attempting mock number 3 via our exam platform, you are supposed to watch the 4 master classes. After watching the master classes, you are supposed to refer to personalized tutor feedback, because as I mentioned earlier, from mock 3 onwards, we are giving you tutor feedback. And after going through tutor feedback, you are supposed to refer to the answer plans of mock number 3. And a similar methodology needs to be adhered to in weeks 5 and 6. In week number 5, you have to dedicate it for mock number 4. And week number 6, you have to dedicate for mock number 5. And within each of these weeks, we are conducting the Q&A workshops. So as I told you earlier, you can raise your concerns. So if you want to learn something, you can raise these questions within these workshops. So by this time, you are supposed to be done with at least 3 mock exams. So you'd really have questions by this time. So you're supposed to raise these concerns and questions at the Q&A workshops, and stick to a similar approach. Attempt mock number 4, watch the master classes to learn theory and improve application skills, refer to tutor feedback, then refer to the answer plans. Same needs to be done in week number 6, focused on mock number 5. So I'll tell you how to do this on a weekly basis. So let's assume you are attempting mock number 3. Attempt mock number 3 on a Tuesday. Okay, leave Monday out because I know Mondays are hectic. So you need not be concerned about studies on a Monday. Focus on attempting your mock on a Tuesday. And once you're done with it, on Wednesday. So you attempt your mock on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, watch the master classes to understand what type of answers you should have developed to learn theory and improve your application skills. And within 48 hours, by Wednesday, if you attempt your mock on Tuesday, by Thursday, you'd receive tutor feedback. So once you receive tutor feedback, you'd really understand what your shortcomings are. You'd really understand what you need to work towards in order to improve the quality of your answers. And once you had received tutor feedback on Friday, you need to focus on the subtasks in which your performance is not up to par and redevelop answer plans. And after redeveloping answer plans, you can compare them with the answer plans which we have provided so that you can further improve the quality of your answers. So on Tuesday, you attempt a mock. On Wednesday, you watch the master classes. On by Thursday, you would receive tutor feedback. On Friday, you are supposed to redevelop answer plans focused on the subtasks in which your performance was not up to the required level of standard. And on a Saturday or a Sunday, you are supposed to attend the workshop or a webinar. So you need not do too much. It's actually your main responsibility is attempting a mock per week. Other than that, it's simply focused on watching master classes, referring to tutor feedback, and redeveloping answer plans focused on subtasks where your performance is not up to standard. And towards the weekend, you can actually relax. I know for a fact that you have family commitments. So it's prudent to keep the weekend free. So if you stick to a similar approach and keep practicing this methodology in the upcoming 7 weeks, you can easily complete all requirements pertaining to preparations. And a week before the exam, during the 7th week, you are simply supposed to refer to the answer plans which are relevant for mocks 1 to 5. So once you go through these answer plans, that's the best and the only type of revision you need a week before the examination. You would be going through theory. It's as if you are going through theory. You are reminding yourself about the type of application skills you need to possess, as well as you are going through different types of exam scenarios. So that's the best and only type of revision you need closer to the exam. And you are supposed to reread the annotated pre-scene one last time and attend the final Q&A where I'd provide you with, last minute tips. And you are expected to stop preparations a day prior to the exam, sleep, eat, and rest well. So let's assume you are attempting your exam on the 23rd of February. You have to stop all preparations by the 21st. Keep the 22nd free, or the day previous to your exam, keep it free so that you relax. I do not want you to go through any study material. I do not want you to attempt any mock exams, watch any master classes, or refer to tutor feedback, refer to answer plans. Instead, keep an open mind, because if you're open-minded, you are in a position to carry out your responsibilities as a senior finance manager in the most successful manner. So let's assume you walk into office on a Monday without getting your sleep on Sunday. You were partying on Sunday, or you were studying on Sunday. You were up till late. Because of that, you didn't get your sleep properly, and you walk into office on a Monday. Can you perform as a senior finance manager? You can't. You won't do your job properly. So at the real exam, since the CIMA examiner is trying to replicate a real life corporate environment, it's better to be rested a day before your examination. So you can rest a day before the examination only if you stick to the study plan, or else just like the majority of students out there, you'd try to attempt mock exams, watch videos and whatnot, even a day before the examination. So as per my experience, most students, a higher percentage of students end up failing the exam because they start preparations a week or two before the exam. So once you start preparations, let's assume 2 weeks before the exam, you have to do so much whilst, carrying out your corporate responsibilities, whilst running your business, and whilst managing affairs at home. So, things get hectic. You cannot attempt 5 mock exams within 2 weeks. You can, but you can't focus on improving yourself. You just attempt mock exams for the sake of attempting them rather than focusing on improving the answering technique, improving the quality of your answers. And rather than facing an extreme level of stress 2 weeks before the exam, it's better to relax a week before the exam. So stick to our study plan. If you do, you'd be resting a week before the exam when all the other students are going through extreme levels of stress. Stress leads to panic, panic leads to brain freeze, and if you experience brain freeze during the exam, you'd end up failing the SCS exam. So might as well be smart and stick to the study plan. If you do, you are in a position to easily pass your SCS exam in the first sitting itself. Okay, so that's the study plan. So you can keep track of your preparations on a weekly basis. And you can get in touch with us on a weekly basis via the weekly webinars and workshops which we are conducting. All right, so we are proud to say that we achieved a 95% pass rate for the August session. And how did our students achieve this? Mainly because of the fact that they stuck to the study plan. So I'm not saying that all students stuck to the study plan, although I'm asking you guys to start preparations right now, students usually wait until the last, 3 or 2 weeks. I, do not recommend it strongly. I disagree with such an approach. However, if you do not stick to it, I can't help it. Even if you start your preparations 2 or 3 weeks before the exam, if you utilize our material, if you have enough time to utilize the material which we provide, then you are in a position to pass the SCS exam extremely comfortably. So that's exactly why we achieved a 95% pass rate. And most of our students, although the pass mark is 80 out of 150, most of our students get more than 100 marks, especially given the fact that they utilize our material. They benefit mainly by the master classes and the answer plans, because if you replicate the same type of answer plans or answer structures at the real exam, you can easily pass your exam. And on top of that, if you attempt all 5 mock exams, you'd practice answering and time management techniques 15 times over. That's enough practice, which you need to champion answering and time management techniques and get it right at your real exam. So I hope you'd utilize our resources and achieve a first time pass. Any questions? I'm going to pause the recording. All right. Thank you for those questions. It appears that there aren't any more questions. So I'm going to wind up the session. So if you want to contact us, you can do it via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com. You can also email us on info@study@tcs.com, or simply drop us a message on our WhatsApp number, which is 7898464196. And I invite you guys to follow us on our social media handles so that you'd be informed about the weekly webinars and workshops which we are conducting. We'd also be sharing free content via these social media handles. So make use of these free content, and especially follow us on TikTok, because via the TikTok, we have developed an extremely beneficial summary or a mind map, which is based on the entire pre-scene. So as I mentioned earlier, you have to be conversant with the information which is highlighted within the pre-scene. However, you need not do anything to try and remember the most important elements highlighted. Instead, keep watching these TikTok videos. We have developed 3 TikTok videos in total. So the combined timing of these 3 TikTok videos comes up to something like 6 to 9 minutes. So within 6 to 9 minutes, you can easily revise or conduct your revision pertaining to the most important information highlighted within the pre-scene. So on a daily basis, if you keep on watching these TikToks over and over, closer to the exam, you'd remember what's highlighted within the pre-scene without an effort. So you need not try and memorize it yourself. We have provided these study resources free of charge. So make use of them so that you improve your pre-scene application skills. You'd remember what's mentioned within the pre-scene on the day of your exam. So having said that, concluding thoughts, approach SCS as an opportunity to learn rather than an exam to pass, especially given the fact that this is a professional qualification. The objective of any professional qualification is to improve knowledge and improve practical implementation skills. So that's exactly what you need to try and achieve rather than seeing this as an academic qualification. So having said that, it brings us to today's end. So thank you very much. End of today's webinar rather. So thank you very much for joining in. I hope you'd take part of the upcoming webinars and workshops which we are conducting on a weekly basis. And if you want to achieve a first-time pass, consider investing on the services which we offer at TCS. Thank you very much. Take care and enjoy your day.